For this week's task, I want you to download the Personal Monthly Budget spreadsheet and fill it out as best as possible. We're going to use these numbers to determine your annual salary range as well as your hourly rate. Before you get started, make sure you've got access to a calculator and some sort of notepad to write down your results. To get the most out of this exercise, I want you to pretend like you're a student who has recently graduated and you're trying to live on your own. You're no longer in the dorm or living at home, and so you're trying to pay for everything by yourself. One thing to keep in mind as you fill it out is that this should be a monthly estimate. The numbers that you type in don't have to be 100% accurate, but they should be realistic. If you find that you need to pay for something and you don't really know the projected cost of it, there's some great ways that you can find good estimates for the area that you know you're going to be living in. There's lots of great websites like Numbeo.com that allow you to type in the city that you're looking for and it'll give you an estimated cost of living. I've already done this for Jackson, Mississippi. So if I didn't know the cost of renting an apartment for Jackson, Mississippi, I can look it up on this spreadsheet and I see that the cost for a one-bedroom apartment is about $850. Keep in mind that this is just an estimate for all of these different prices. Sometimes they'll be higher, sometimes they'll be lower, but it is a good starting point. You can look up a good cost estimate for just about everything on here online, or even better, ask somebody that you know who is already paying for these kinds of things. To get started, I've already filled out my personal monthly budget, so let me give you some things to think about as you fill out your monthly budget. The first thing to note is that if there's any projected cost that you know you don't need, you can simply leave that item blank. You don't have to fill in anything. The other thing you can do is to lump together multiple things. For instance, under entertainment, if I go out on a date, it's going to be to a movie, a concert, or a sporting event. So I just lumped all three of those together under the other and gave it a projected cost in itself. The final thing you can do to make things easier, if there's anything that you pay for on a weekly basis, for instance my groceries, I spend about $100 a week. I simply multiplied that $100 times 4 weeks to give me that projected cost. Take some time and go through and fill out as many of these as possible. Again, this is just an estimate. The last thing to note is I want you to leave the taxes, savings, and donations blank for now. Later on in this process, we're going to estimate the cost of your taxes and savings and growth. So, take a few minutes and fill this out. Once you're finished, you should have a total projected cost for one single month. Now that you've finished, grab your calculator and notepad and let's crunch some numbers. The first number that we need to know can be found at the bottom of your spreadsheet. Find your total projected cost for 1 month and copy this number onto your page. To find your base salary, multiply this projected cost times 12. In my case, the projected cost times 12 gave me a base salary of $20,760. Now let's adjust for taxes. We want to multiply our base salary times 1.3 to increase the number by 30%. So in my example, my base salary adjusted for taxes has now become $26,988. Now that we know how much we need to make to cover our cost of living and our taxes, any number above this can go into our personal savings, charitable contributions, and personal growth. Since this number changes over time, we need to think about it in terms of a percentage range. On the low end, it should be about 10%. On the high end, I like to think of it around 60%, although yours can be different. So to get the low end of your salary range, simply type 1.1 times your base salary adjusted for taxes. In my example, it comes out to $29,686. To get the high range of 60%, type in 1.6 times your base salary adjusted for taxes. In my case, this gives me a high value of $43,180. So this annual salary range is what you should aim for in order to cover your cost of living, your taxes, and any personal growth and savings. Obviously, if you find a job that's above this number, it's even better. Now, this number is good if you want to work at a business that's going to pay you a yearly salary. But if you want to work freelance, we need to determine your hourly rate. The first thing to determine is how many hours a week do you want to work. You can find this number by multiplying the number of days you want to work each week by the number of hours you want to work each day. In my case, if I want to work Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m., that's 5 days a week for 7 hours each day. So if I multiply these two numbers together, it gives me a 35-hour work week. Next, I need to determine how many weeks out of the year I want to work and how many weeks I want to take off for vacation and personal sick time. Since there's 52 weeks in a year, and I want to take off 2 weeks for vacation and personal time, I'll be working a 50-week work year. Now you simply multiply the number of hours you work per week times the number of weeks you work in a year. In my case, this came out to 1,750 hours. Now it's a simple task of dividing the salary I want to make in 1 year by the number of hours I want to work in that year. In my example, I've chosen $45,000. This is a number that's well above my high-end salary range. If I divide 45,000 by 1,750 hours, this gives me an hourly rate of $25.71. This is what I can charge clients per hour for the projects that I can work on. And with that, we're finished. Now you know a yearly salary range you can look for and also an hourly rate you can charge. For this week's online quiz, make sure you save all of this information as these will be part of the answers that you'll turn in. Additionally, save up your financial planner and upload it to the Moodle page as part of your task grade.